Okay, now in the previous video, we showed you how to run the Osiris iOS app for the first time and set up your new account and set up your new unit, which was either an Osiris, a Trident, or a Poseidon. Today we're going to show you how to just run the app like normal. So let's go ahead and run the app. Okay, and now we're not going to be setting up any units, setting up any Wi-Fi, anything like that, so we just click Start App. And we see we have an alarm. Now the app will tell you if you've got a possible water leak, a freezing pipe, or an excessively hot pipe. It'll show you which of your units has the problem. You can click the green phone icon to call a plumber for help. You can click the valve icon to shut off your water remotely and prevent damage to your home. Of course, this requires that your Osiris is paired with a Trident. You can also look at your emergency contacts, and these are your friends and family that you're sharing your water alarms with. You can let them know if you're unable to get the problem. If you are getting it, you can cancel the alarm, or you could say more info. Let's click more info. Now we can see the water flow leading up to the leak. If this was a pipe alert, we could see the pipe temperature leading up to the hot or cold pipe alarm. But we've got a flow alarm, so we're seeing water flow. Now in the box in the middle of the page, we can see suggestions for how to resolve the problem. Let's go back to who is responding. Now let's click the green phone to call a plumber. And what we see is a list of good local plumbers in our area that can help us out with the problem quickly. So if you want to call the plumber, simply click on them and then wait a few seconds and click the green phone icon to call them. You could also click no and back. And again, you certainly don't have to use these plumbers. These are just, good local plumbers that can help you out quickly. Now you can also click the valve icon. So let's go ahead and click on the valve itself and shut the water off. Now within about 30 seconds, we would be shutting off water to the home and preventing any water damage. Because there's no actual alarm, I'm just going to click the valve again, click turn the water on, and let water flow into the home. But this is how you would shut off water remotely if you had a Trident valve. Now let's go ahead and say I'll get it. And now we're getting it, and our emergency contacts are notified by email and in the phone app that we are getting the problem. Now let's go ahead and cancel the alarm. And again, our emergency contacts are notified by email and in the app that we've canceled the alarm. And if you ever want to make sure that you're seeing the latest information in the app, simply press the black home key to minimize it, click the app again to maximize it, and you'll download the latest information. And this is really only necessary in the alarm page to see what the latest information is from the users. But that's how to get the latest data. Now we're on the status page and we're looking at our unit. We can see our weather forecast in the top two circular bubbles. And that's the weather where the unit's located. This is very useful. For example, if the unit is hundreds of miles away and is getting a pipe freeze alert, you can look at what the weather is like, where the unit's located, and just know more about the problem. Now in the middle bubble, we can see that the status is no alarm. We can see our pipe temperature. We can see that the smart valve is on, meaning water is allowed to flow into the home. The alarm is armed. Now in the bottom bubble, we can see that we're using an average amount of water today. This bubble will basically tell you if you're using more or less water, than is normal for a day, right? You're using more water today or less water today than you normally do. Very handy. Now you can click the history page. If you have an Osiris or a Poseidon, you can view your complete water history. If you have an Osiris, you'll be looking at minutes per hour of usage throughout the day. If you have a Poseidon water meter, you're looking at gallons or liters. Now, if you click the current minutes, you can see, our hours throughout the day. This is only a test unit, so it's unplugged most of the time, but you can see, several days where we have full days worth of data. Now, your Osiris will be showing, data all the time, but basically you click current minutes, and now you're looking at, your minutes of water each hour or not. You can also see the bottom boxes shows you the weather each day and how the weather affects your water usage. And simply click the left and right arrows on the date to go forward or back in time. Now let's look at week view, and we can see our water usage, each day of the week. You can hit left arrow to go back, right arrow to go forward in time. You can also click on current minutes, and now you're looking at progress view. And what that shows you, for example, is the current week is in blue, and then the last week is in purple. So we could see, for example, that we're using more water than we did last Saturday, but we're using substantially less water than we did the previous Tuesday. Now, again, this is just test data, but you will see real differences week to week, as far as your water usage goes. And this lets you, track your water usage over time and conserve. You can also see in the bottom box, you can click local temperature and switch between the high and low temperature and the humidity and see how weather affects your water usage. Month works the exact same way. Left arrow to go back, right to go forward, current versus progress, temperature versus humidity. You can also click on any of the day bars in week or month to go to that day. Your view works the same way. Let's go to year, and now you can go between current and progress, temperature and humidity, click on any of the months. You can also, if you want to zoom in on the graph, put your 2 fingers on the graph and spread your fingers out to zoom in. If you want to zoom out, put your 2 fingers on the graph and put them together to zoom out. So that's the year view. Let's say you're filling your swimming pool up and you don't want any water alarms for a while because you're going to be using a lot of water. You can temporarily mute your water flow and pipe temperature alarms on the mute page. So let's set some number of hours. You can set hours or days. Let's do, say, 1 hour. Click mute. Now for the next hour, we're not going to get any alarms from this Osiris. And what you'll see over the next hour is you'll see this gray wheel fill in slowly with orange until it's all the way filled in. And then in the middle, it'll say unmuted once you're done the period. You can go to the status page and you can see that the alarm is muted during this period. Now let's say that we're done filling up our swimming pool. We want to turn the alarms back on. Simply set the mute period to 0. And we say mute. Okay, now we're done the mute period. We're unmuted and we've got alarms running again. Osiris and Poseidon let you set a monthly goal to conserve water and save money. So we're looking at our current month. We can see that our goal is to only use 220 minutes, but we've used 432. We can move the slider bar at the bottom to a new goal, high or low. So let's move it to a new goal, and now we can see that our slider bar, our goal is above how much we've used, which is the light blue bar. So we click store. We've set a new goal, and we see the graph update. And now that now the March bar is blue, if we were unable to meet our goal, update it, and now we see that month is red because we didn't meet our goal. But let's make it blue. We can also click the left and right arrows around the date to go back or forward in time. Click the left arrow. We go back to February. We can see that in February we met our goal. We can also see in February that our morning water use is lower than normal and our nightly water use is lower than normal. Basically, Osiris and Poseidon track your water habits over time, and they'll let you know if you're using more water than normal in the morning, at night, and on weekends. And basically, this is giving you personal feedback about your water habits, and that helps you conserve water and save money. Let's go to the settings menu, look at Trident Smart Valve. If we have a Trident selected in the app, or we're selecting an Osiris or a Poseidon, and it's paired with a Trident, we can shut our water off remotely. Click the valve, say yes. Your water will be turned off typically in about 30 seconds. Click the valve again, turn valve on, yes. And now we're turning our water on in about 30 seconds. And you can do this from anywhere in the world. You can turn off your water from the other side of the planet. We click back. Now we can click call a plumber. If you want to call a plumber, simply click on them. You'll see a little notice, and then you'll see a green phone icon. Click the phone icon to call the plumber and get some help. Now you can manage your contacts. These are your friends and family that you're sharing your water data and your alarm with. First we click block. We're looking at our suggested contacts. These are the people that have added us as contacts of their Osiris, so they are suggested contacts that we can add to our Osiris. Now, if you ever want to block any of these people, simply click on them, and now you see that Bill is blocked, and you can click save. If you wanted to unblock Bill at a later time, simply click on him again, and he's unblocked, and click save. Now, again, 99% of the time you're not going to want to block anyone, but if you do want to block someone who's added you and you don't want to participate, simply block them, and you're not participating in their alarms. Now, we're back on our contacts page, and we can see our actual contacts up top and our suggested on the bottom. Let's say that we want to delete one of our actual contacts. Let's say we want to delete Bill. Simply click on Bill, and then it'll say remove this contact, and we say yes, and we've deleted Bill from our contacts. If we want to add him back at a later time, we click on him down in the suggested contacts, and then it says add to my contacts, and we say yes, and now Bill's back in our contacts. If we want to add a completely new contact, click the add button in the top right, and then enter their name and email address. And these are our friends and family that we're sharing, alarms and water with. So we click save. If we want to undo all the changes on this page, click back. Okay, now we're going to name our units. Let's say, for example, that we want to name Osiris 533. You can scroll down, through this table and name all your units and see if they're a Trident or an Osiris or whatever. Let's say we're naming 533. So we click 533, and then it says enter an alias. Let's go ahead and name that cabin, because we're going to be putting it in our winter cabin. Okay, so we click save. Now 533 is called cabin, and we can name our units whatever we like. Now we click back. We can also assign Tridents to our Osirises and Poseidons. So up top we see our Osirises and Poseidons, and we can scroll through that, and then below we see our Tridents. Let's say we want to assign Trident to Osiris 522. So let's click on 522, and let's say we want to assign Trident 773 to it. So we click Trident, and now it's assigned, and then we click saved. And now the next time Osiris 522 gets a water alarm, then you'll be able to shut off your water remotely with Trident 773. And basically this is just a nice way of pairing Osirises and Tridents. So we click back. Now we can also assign our friends and family to our different units to share our alarms and our water with them. So up top we have all of our units in a gallery, and we can scroll left and right. And for each one we can click on it and see who the contacts are. So for 522, we've got Joe and Nick. Let's click cabin, and we see that we have no contacts. Now down below we see our contacts list, and so let's go ahead and add Bill to our cabin so that he can get water alarms. So we click on Bill, and then we can set his level of access. We can click user or full. Let's leave him at emergency, and then we add him to our contacts. If you want to change his level of access at a later time, simply click on him in contacts. So we click on Bill. Now, for example, if Bill is a neighbor, we want to share our alarms with him but not our water data, we can leave him as an emergency contact. Let's say you've got, for example, a child, and you want to share your water data with them so they can help you conserve, but you don't want to give them full access to the unit where they can mess up settings. Then you make them a user, and that's great for kids. You click them. Now, we can also make someone a full contact. So for example, with our wife or a spouse, we can make them a full user of the unit, and then they can change all the settings as well. So for like a spouse, we recommend full user. A kid, we recommend making them a user, and a neighbor, we recommend making them an emergency level of access. So let's set this person's level of access. We can also click them again. If we wanted to remove them, we click yes, remove them. So you can remove people from units, you can add them, and you can change their level of access. Once you're happy with all the changes, we're sharing everything we want with friends and family, we click save. Okay, now we click back. Now we can also view another unit in the app. So currently we are viewing 747 like it says at the bottom, but let's say instead we want to view a Trident unit, so we click on a Trident, and now we're viewing Trident 754. We can also set a default up in the top right with the red lettering. Click set default. Now we can, again, by default, we're viewing 747 when the app starts up. But let's say next time we start the app up, we want to be looking at 533. That's what we want by default. So click 533. Now whenever the app starts up, you'll be looking at 533. Let's go ahead and go back to 747 and then view unit 747. Okay, and that's how to view another unit or change your default. Now, if you want to register a new unit that you've bought, click register a new unit, and you'll be able to look at the card that comes with your new unit, whether it's a Trident, an Osiris, or a Poseidon. Simply enter the serial number and access code, click register, and now you're the owner of the unit, and then you'll be able to set the unit up. And for setup, please watch our previous setup video. It's very easy, it just takes a few minutes. Okay, so we click back. Now, again, if it's an older Osiris, you can click Connect Unit to My Wi-Fi here. If it's a newer unit, like an Osiris 2 or a Trident or a Poseidon, then when you click Connect Unit to My Wi-Fi, it'll ask you to please restart the app and then click that Setup icon to set it up. Now, the older Osirises, you can also calibrate water flow. The Osiris 2s, the Tridents, and the Poseidons, you won't need to do this, and you won't even have this option. You can also click View Diagnostics, and we can see, throughout the day, we can see this Osiris talking to the server. We can see we plugged it in earlier today, and we had it plugged in most of the time, except for a brief period where we unplugged it, but it's been plugged in for several hours now, reporting data. And basically, this just gives you information about, is the unit reporting in, minute by minute all day. You can see the last time it contacted the server, we can see when it calibrated, and we can see that it passed and everything is fine. So basically, this is just a handy diagnostic. Most people don't have any trouble, but if you do have any issues with your unit, then go to the diagnostic page and get more information about it. Now, if you want to use Osiris or Trident or whatever with your preferred smart home, you click Set Up Cloud APIs. You simply enter a email address that's different from the email you use to log into this app and a password, and then you'll be able to pair Osiris with your preferred smart home. We'll have a full video of that in a few months. It's going to be very easy, no problem, but for now, all you need to know is to use Osiris with your preferred smart home. Simply enter a different email and a password. I say back. Okay, now we say set unit alarms to change our alarm settings. We can say after 45 minutes of water flow, contact us with a water alarm, and we can change that number. We can say how long to have a hot or cold pipe before contacting us with a pipe temperature alarm. We can set a high and low pipe temperature that it will alarm on. We can change the app from Fahrenheit to Celsius. If we had a Poseidon, we'd be able to set the flow, monitor flow units in gallons or liters. Also, if we have our Osiris or Poseidon paired with a Trident, and the Osiris, for example, detects a water leak, it can automatically notify the Trident to shut off your water before damage occurs. That way, even if you're, unavailable, you're in a meeting, you're sleeping, you're just not online, it can shut off the water and prevent damage even when you're not around. And we do actually recommend turning that on. And basically, that's just going to say, whenever there's an alarm, shut off the water automatically. Now, lastly, you can adjust the sensitivity of your Osiris. By default, it's 130. If, for example, you have like one faucet in your home, though, that it's not picking up well, simply slide the bar to the left and make it more sensitive, maybe like 120. Now, on the other hand, if you're at the 130 and you're finding that you're getting occasional false water alarms, simply slide the bar to the right to make it less sensitive. And we recommend roughly 140 to make it less sensitive. So basically, this is only for Osiris, but if for most people, the default settings are fine. Occasionally, people need to adjust the sensitivity. So once we're happy with our changes, we click Save, and then go back. And then, okay, we can also set alarm exceptions. So now there's going to be times when you're running your sprinkler every week when you don't want to set off water alarms. So in this example, it looks like on Sunday morning from 6 to 7, we're probably deep watering a tree, and we don't want to set off water alarms. Let's go ahead and change that. Well, first off, if we wanted to turn off that exception entirely, simply click off, and now it's off, and we're not going to have that exception at all, and you will get water alarms during that period. But let's turn it back on, and we click Mod, and now let's change the start time to, let's say, 8:15 a.m. And let's say we only want it to run for, 45 minutes. Okay, so now we've got it running at 8:15 for 45 minutes, but not Sunday. It's actually going to be Tuesday and Thursday. So now, let's say we're running our sprinklers on Tuesday and Thursday at 8:15 for 45 minutes. We don't want water alarms. Click Save, and then click back, and then your sprinklers won't cause water alarms. We can also click About this app, and we see what app rev it is. If you want to know if you have the latest, you can simply go to the iTunes store and compare this to the rev in the iTunes store, and then you'll know if you've got the latest app. You can also watch help videos, and this will take you to our YouTube channel, which will have complete instruction videos for how to use our various devices. Lastly, you can log out of the app. You can log in as a different user. You can click Register a New Account to register as a new user. If you wanted to change your password, you could type in your email address, and then click email password reset code. And then you'll have a link in your email, to reset your password. And then once you get your code, you click reset your password. You would type in your email. You type in the password reset code, and you type in your new password if you ever wanted to change it. Most people don't change their password, but if you ever wanted to, that's how you do it. Anyway, as you can see, the iOS app is very easy to use and very complete. If you have any questions at all, please contact us, and thank you for listening.